I accidentally forgot to hit record. And I was telling him about this guy that said, good luck trying to get anyone on the carnivore diet. I saw a message like that. And then right after that, Lindsay started asking me questions about the diet. I want you guys to share your experience on the carnivore diet.
So for me, it went really well. I was really shocked at how smoothly we were able to transition into things because we started off eating a junk food diet. So I was really nervous about like the symptoms that we might, like the keto flu people talk about, things like that. And I've already struggled always with like low energy, things like that. So I was like, okay, am I going to be able to like take care of my kids and like go through this process of transitioning to no carbs, So, and one of the first things that I had asked, I had texted Beth after I really started considering doing the diet and asked if you still drank coffee because I was like, there's no way I can drink like, no carbs and no coffee all at the same time. That just was like, so I was really grateful that she said, yes, you still drink coffee. So
yeah, I mean, I haven't gave that up. Like I've considered it over and over, but I'm scared. I'm scared.
Yeah.
So
I was pretty scared about just switching to no carbs from what we were doing. And so we just went for it. We didn't, really do any kind of prep, thought about it, and instead went out and got like a bunch of ice cream the day before and ate it. So that's how that went.
Was it delicious?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't remember what ice cream tastes like. Probably cold.
Yeah. So I had really bad headaches the first week, and the worst of them was probably like the beginning. It seemed like as the week went on, the headaches got like less intense. They kind of would come later in the day, opposed to like at first it was like it would start like around like 10 or 12, and that was about the extent of that. And then, but even with the headaches, about day 3, I noticed that I had a lot more energy. I was a lot more productive. I had just a lot more motivation in general to just get up and do things. And I was just like, I was just kind of like on my feet doing things around the house and stuff all day that normally I would struggle with doing that kind of thing. Like my motivation level was low. And then probably about, I think it was like the second week, like I just was really motivated to start walking and things, and like that's another thing that like I kind of would always say like, yeah, I really need to start working out. Like I want to start working out more and walking and things like that, but it just never would happen. But I felt like I had a lot more just drive to just do things that I wanted to do, honestly. And then so, but maybe about week 3 or 4, which looking back now that I know that I was pregnant at that time.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. I think my energy level kind of went down just a little bit from where it was at, and looking back, I think that that's why. Like I just kind of noticed that it was like I felt like I needed like an extra cup of coffee every day to like keep myself. And then
you hear her in the background?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't over. Yeah, and then so I made it for 5 weeks, like 5 solid weeks is how long I made it. It was a week 4. I like was having like really bad carb cravings. Like we had Riley's birthday party, and he had like cookie cake for the party, and I was just like, I literally just could not stop thinking about cookie cake. Like I was like, I kept telling like Darrell and like my mom, I was like, this is like an unreal craving. I was like, so why? Like, because it seems like in the beginning the cravings were bad, like for carbs. Like I just like the grocery store was like the worst because there's just everything's everywhere. I was like the whole time I'd be like, I gotta get out of here, like, but it would, and then like as time went on, I think the cravings got like less and less for carbs to where it was like they would kind of come for a little bit, and then just I'd try to distract myself, and then it would pass pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like it was weird to me that like all of a sudden week 4 I was having like more intense cravings than ever, but now looking back, I know that I was pregnant, and that was why.
My wife said that you talked to her and she asked if you were pregnant because you're saying because you were having a bunch of cravings all of a sudden.
Yeah, yep. She had texted me and asked how things were going. And I was like, it's going really great. I'm on, we've made it to 30 days, but I literally can't stop thinking about food. So yeah. And then I kept going to 5 weeks, and right at 5 weeks is when I took the test and found out I was pregnant. And I think looking back, I was after the fact, after giving in and cheating, I ended up eating some of the cookie cake because I was I wanted it so bad. I just convinced myself that, if I eat a piece, then I'll maybe the craving will go away and I'll feel better. And instantly when I ate it, I felt an instant fog come over me. It felt instantly a difference mentally, which is pretty crazy. And then the next day, one of the reasons I was interested in the diet was because, I have type 2.
Yeah.
I have type 2 diabetes, and I also have suspected recently that I have some sort of autoimmune disease would be, undiagnosed at the moment. But I, not long ago, had an issue where I was having numbness and tingling in my arms and my hands, and I also got to where I started having body aches and muscle aches to the point where I could barely walk. I ended up going to the doctor, and they gave me a steroid shot, and my white blood cell count was high, but then they rechecked it after I was feeling better after the steroid shot, and then they rechecked it, and it was better, and then they just left it at that, which I would like to maybe go see a different doctor and look more into it. But I hadn't had any of the numbness or things like that in my hands for the whole time I was on the carnivore diet. And that night, after eating sugar and cookies for the first time in 5 weeks, my hands were numb and tingly, and I felt a tightness in my chest and things. It was pretty it was crazy, the instant difference that it made. Yeah. So and then after that, I did 1 week of kind of a carnivore, where I was eating some avocados and drinking lemon water, but still sticking to mostly meat. And then after that week, it just kind of got worse and worse what I was eating.
Didn't you say you started having some kind of aversion?
Yeah, it got to where it was hard, and still even now, steak was my favorite thing. A ribeye was my favorite meal. I mean, we couldn't afford ribeye.
Yeah.
We couldn't afford ribeyes every meal, but that was my favorite thing to have. And I remember just, it was probably about that 6 week mark of, a week carnivore, to where I was just eating the steak and I just couldn't keep eating it. It just, I don't know. It was just, I couldn't eat it.
So, part of the reason I thought, hey, let's do this is because I wanted to see if anyone had any information with you guys. They could end up put it in the comments. Have you tried this and got pregnant? What did you do? What happened? How did you feel? Did you get any aversions to the meat? Because I know, my wife, when she's been pregnant, is I want a hamburger. Right? One pregnancy, and the next pregnancy, if anyone shows me a hamburger, I'm going to throw up. Don't ever show me a hamburger. It just changed for each pregnancy. And it was, so I know that kind of stuff happens. So I guarantee a lot of people will have insight that we can glean some good information, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. And I honestly think that, after I broke the 5 week, I had those cookies after the 5 weeks, I was really upset with myself for giving up at that point, because it was something that our initial goal was 30 days, but I had really kept saying and telling myself that I wanted to go past that. And specifically, I wanted to try to make it to 8 weeks, because from watching different videos, I had heard a lot of people saying that was the 6 to 8 week mark was when they saw a lot of benefits with their mental health. And that was also one of the main reasons I wanted to do it, was because I've always struggled with anxiety and depression really bad. So I, I heard a lot of people was like, oh, 6 weeks, like I woke up and felt better. 8 weeks, I woke up. So I really just wanted to see what would happen if I got to that point and see. I mean, my energy level felt better, but I definitely, I don't feel like my moods were cured at that point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, instead of eating a Snickers, just eat a ribeye.
yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, I was really upset with myself for breaking it at that point, and then also it was hard because I mean, there wasn't really anybody that we know that was like against us doing the carnivore diet when they heard about it. Like everybody was like, oh, good for you, like how's, they would be like curious about how it's going and things. And so, but a lot of people, the second I said I was pregnant, they're like, oh wait, but your diet, you can't eat like that while you're pregnant, so that I think kind of got in my head too, to where I started like second guessing. Okay, it was like, is this something I really need to do?
You want to make sure you're not hurting the baby. Yeah, for
exactly.
Sure.
So, I kind of felt pressure on that end to add fruits and vegetables into my diet, at least fruits and vegetables, But what I think is funny is I've been saying, well, it's funny because nobody ever said anything about me eating like Fruit Loops my whole pregnancy, with my other kids. Like, like nobody would bat an eyelash at that, but if you tell them eating only meat while you're pregnant, they freak out. But
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went for me, and then how it's going right now is horrible.
Yeah.
It's been really well. I think the meat aversion has definitely been an issue. One of the main things that was like what we ate a lot was like the frozen beef patties from Walmart. Like they're frozen, whatever, but they're 100% beef. So that was like our go-to, just easy food to have around.
Cheap.
And that was
yeah.
Like I still just can't even think about eating that.
We have
so
a pack that's been in the freezer for what?
Yeah, I don't like ground meat that much on this diet. Like it depends on the day, but I ended up after a while just putting a little bit of like sharp cheddar cheese on it because I cut out cheese forever. But then it's like I put a little bit of cheese on it, and it like somehow kind of breaks up the greasiness, and so it was a little bit better. But some days I'm like, this is awesome. Other days like, yeah. But a ribeye always sounds good to me as long as it's cooked well. But affordability. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, it's been really hard to get back into anything really. Honestly, we have not been doing great. I've had good days and bad days because I mean I do have diabetes and I am pregnant, so it is really important that I'm not just eating junk all day. And I was on metformin before I started the carnivore diet for the type 2 diabetes, and I decided that I was going to go ahead. I mean, my sugars weren't out of control to the point that I was going to like die if I wasn't taking it. So I decided I was going to just not take it the whole time I was doing the carnivore diet because I wanted to see what my numbers were without any medication on the diet. So
okay. Did you get to check those?
I did. I checked like my fasting sugars like once a week. So they were pretty much, I think that they maybe were getting to where they were lower because in the beginning it was like 140s, 130s. And then like I think the last one I did on like to where I was like full blown on the diet was like 121. So it may have been getting lower. And I'm curious to see because my doctor's appointment to check on the baby, they had done blood work and I think checked my A1C, but I haven't gotten to talk to them about what it was. But I know when I did the blood work when I was having the like the autoimmune type issues with my muscles, my A1C was a 6.5.
Okay, so that's like where I was. Yeah, I saw 6.7. Yeah.
if it's gotten lower since just with the 5 weeks of the carnivore. But so I did go ahead and go back on the metformin when I found out I was pregnant because I was just worried about what my doctor would be doing. And then so I'm still on it, and the doctor told me to stay on it. But and my sugar right now is pretty controlled as long as I'm not overdoing the carbs.
I just wanted you to kind of share your experience. I mean, Lindsay, I've chatted with Lindsay a little bit. And she said that you were just losing weight, and she was mad at you.
Yeah. So that
but somehow she got pregnant.
that was pretty much the whole reason I would do it, was to lose weight. I was almost 300 pounds. I was 280, almost 290. I dropped down to 260 in, I don't know, 2-3 weeks.
Wow.
I lost a lot of weight really fast.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but I didn't really, like, I didn't have trouble with energy or anything like that, and nothing really changed other than my weight.
Yeah.
I could feel anyway.
Were you hungry ever?
I was hungry quite a bit. Always hungry. It doesn't stop. I'm hungry now.
Okay.
I did have some pretty bad diarrhea when I first started. The first week or two. Yeah. I don't know, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and I started,
Yeah, he did about 3 weeks of actual like carnivore.
Egg, meat, a little bit of cheese, and coffee.
Yeah, we both did.
After so long, it's just
cheese. But like I was like kind of picky about the cheese we were doing.
Yeah, it wasn't sharp pepper.
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah, hard cheese.
Yeah. Yeah. After a while, it's just at one point I didn't even want to eat a steak. I was like, oh, a steak, really?
Yeah, I remember talking one day. I was like, it was maybe a week into it, and we were like looking. We're like, we have nothing to eat, or he was saying we had nothing to eat. And I'm like, yeah, I need to go to the grocery store. And he's like, what? And get more meat? He's like.
Yeah, so a lot of people say that's the problem with a diet like this, because it's not sustainable, because people get just bored to death of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you go through it, you can do it. Just meat, eggs. Oh, we were just eating meat, eggs, and cheese, really, right?
Yeah. That was a coffee.
3 weeks, and coffee.
Butter, coffee.
Butter. Yeah, that was intense. Then you freeze some butter and eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point I had seen, we joined the carnivore groups on Facebook, and that was helpful because people suggested like.
I saw you on that. That was funny. Yeah. I was like.
Suggested snacking on butter, and I was like, okay, and like
my mom told me not to do that.
Yeah, so I started doing that, and that did kind of help, just because I think the worst time for me as far as like wanting stuff is like kind of that in between like dinner and bedtime, especially like you're just used to sitting down and having a snack and like watching TV or whatever, and it's just weird to not have that. So I think it just helped with like just the I don't know, the motion of snacking, I guess.
Yeah, we just had a lot of eating though doing that.
I mean, yeah, I honestly, for us, it was almost like we just were intermittent fasting by default, because you eat dinner and then, well, it's like, what are you gonna snack on?
All you have is steak and eggs.
Yeah.
I thought steak
and then you just go to sleep, and then you have to cook everything, so I
wasn't really super hungry. Now that you asked me, like, I wasn't really hungry like I am now, like I'll eat some junk food and like, man, I'm really hungry after that. The steak, I mean, eating what we were eating, it wasn't terrible.
Well, yeah, it's hard to teach yourself, like, if it's actually hunger or boredom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Too.
Oh, that's what I do now. I eat out of boredom.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think for him it was different because he was going to work every day. So I always had access to like a kitchen and a fridge with meat in it at home.
Oh yeah.
He didn't really have that as much. So it was like he would just, do like plain beef patties or whatever if they had
Wendy's.
it at wherever they
Yeah.
lunch. Yeah. So, and I think it got harder for you when you started working at Southern Air because of the labor you were doing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're prepared.
Yeah, I was not.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to McDonald's? I'm going to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, definitely being prepared. Yeah, because he switched from a job where he was riding around in a van fixing things inside restaurants with AC, and then he switched to a job to where he's working on AC units, so he's like in attics all day.
Oh yeah, and the AC doesn't work.
Yeah, in Louisiana, so it's cooled down a little bit now, but when he first started, it was 90 degrees outside and humid, so I think that kind of took it out of him, and that was kind of when he really started like kind of going backwards as far as straying from meat.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why.
I think I haven't really been eating. I don't eat candy anymore, really. Like, I stopped eating candy.
Okay.
I'm taking that part. I don't eat candy anymore. It's bad.
Yeah.
So, like kind of a follow-up question, like I know you guys have fallen off the wagon. Don't beat yourselves up. Don't beat yourselves up. Like I ate that way till I was 44. You guys you're way younger than that, right? But
Grandma.
but has it changed the way you think about food at all?
She's the one who reads the ingredients to me. Like, oh, this has got that much, and it's got this many carbs. I'm like, oh, that's bad for you. Me, if you put it in front of me, I'm gonna eat it.
Oh, okay.
She's like the one that makes sure it's not super bad. So that would be a question for you.
I would say absolutely. I would say, well, and like even like once we got like maybe a week or two, the further into it, the more I like learned, and the more I was reading like ingredients and things. Like there was like some turkey bacon I bought in the beginning. It was like the first like grocery trip I did planning, before we started, and we bought turkey bacon, and like I read the label like a week later, and it had sugar in it, and I was like, oh shoot, like can't do that, so, and then for me, because I was really looking to get, the benefits from having a possible autoimmune disease and my mental health, I really wanted to be careful about a lot of different ingredients that Darrell really didn't care about because his goal was weight loss.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of like once we got to a certain point, it was kind of I would be like, okay, this is 0 carb. It has these ingredients, but if you want, you can eat it. You're still gonna lose weight, kind of thing. So, and I was more I guess picky about what I was eating. But it definitely changed the way I think. And like you said earlier, you have to think, am I really hungry or am I just bored? And honestly, there was a lot of times in the beginning where I think that I was really hungry, but like I didn't even understand what hunger was, I guess. Like I would be like out midday and like starting to like feel bad and like get a headache and things, and I would realize, okay, like then I would go home and eat and feel better. I was like, okay, well, I was hungry, but I was trying to just shut off, I guess, any like thoughts of food, so I wasn't like craving things, but it definitely changed. It was weird for me because it was almost like, sometimes I'll do like I'll like take a break from social media if I just feel like I need, it's taking up too much of my time, things like that. And when I get off, when you get off social media, it's like you have all this free time. So, and that's I literally felt the same way about when I started the carnivore diet. Felt like my time was freed up because so much of my time was wasted just like going to snacks. I mean, for me, that was like a really big problem, just like eating just to eat, I guess. And I think probably eating as like kind of a dopamine fix because I do struggle with depression. So where it was like just the taste of it kind of thing. But yeah, I definitely ate way less eating carnivore. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was going to quit. And I've done it, over 6 months now. So I'm still surprised at myself that I've made it this long.
Yeah.
And with no cheating either.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm going to eat all these things when I get off this diet, like when I reach my goal.
Yeah.
And I got there and I was like, well, I did eat some pot stickers, right?
Yeah.
And I ate them. I was like, these aren't even good. Like,
Yeah.
the steak was better.
Yeah.
So,
How long have you been on it?
over 6 months now.
And you haven't cheated?
No. No, I mean, it kind of, I don't know. Like, I kind of want to. Honestly, I want to try something else out, and I want to try it out. But at the same time, I don't want to, and I don't have like this overwhelming urge because I've gone 6 months out. It's like when I quit, smoking cigarettes. I was like, oh,
Let me go get the other baby.
The other baby woke up. The other one fell asleep and the other one woke up. Sorry.
It's all right. But yeah, it was like over time I stopped. After a while, I just didn't even think about it anymore.
Yeah, I felt like it was definitely very comparable to drugs.
Yeah.
As far as just like the beginning was like really hard, like
Mhm.
as far as like not eating certain things and not eating carbs, not having any junk food snacks. But I think that as time went on, it got easier and easier, and it probably would have continued to do that had I not been pregnant, to where I had like the cravings. I'm sure that was just like a pregnancy related thing. But yeah.
Yeah. I was. They got a bunch of little. You guys got 3 kids over there right now, or just 2?
Yeah. Well, Riley's here, so we have.
Oh, so
Yes.
So you got 3 kids over there, and like we got on here, and I rushed out here, and my face is still red and flushed because my kids were banging on the door going, "Dad, emergency!" because they flooded the upstairs toilet because they don't know how to use a little bit of toilet paper, and they don't know how to plunge it. I was like, oh my goodness. So yeah, this is real life, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's awesome that you guys tried it. Had at least some convictions on your health journey. But here's the thing, your health journey's not over, right? You guys still breathing?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Breathing.
Absolutely.
So, what was that? I didn't get that.
When I remember to.
Yeah. But I was just completely humbled that I would post like stuff on YouTube, and then people started asking me all these questions and telling me good job, and then you guys reached out and like, oh, maybe I should try this, try to get, see if I can get healthier, right? And so it just feels empowering to me to see people trying, right? I'm going to try. So sure, you're not currently eating strict carnivore, but I guarantee because of that experience, your lives are going to be forever changed, because you're going to start thinking more about what you're eating and how it makes you feel. Are you really hungry? What is good nutrition and those types of things. But, I put my hope in Jesus, right? And I try to stay away from extremes. I said that the other day, and the guy's like, don't you think eating just meat's a little extreme? I was like, well, fair point. Fair point. Yes, I think it's a little extreme. But I came to a place in my life where for so long, I put off the thing that I knew I needed to do, right? Or I had like, I don't know if it was conviction or I was just condemnation. I don't know where the voice was coming, but I felt like I was putting something off and not being serious about, because life is complicated. Sometimes you got to put stuff just on the side and compartmentalize it, and you just keep doing what you're doing. And I was afraid of getting hungry at work, not, because doing physical labor, like you're saying, you're sweating, like if you feel horrible, it's like it sucks. It makes it even worse when you're working hard. And I was scared of all those things, and I haven't been completely healed of that. I'm still getting older and I still get tired, but I'm thankful for God for leading me this far, and I'm just really excited to see where God leads you guys on your health journey, because the moment that I found out that type 2 diabetes was reversible and my doctor never told me that, I was like, I'm pissed. I was mad. I kind of felt like he was withholding information from me because I was stupid.
Yeah.
And I might be reading too much into it, but that's how I really felt. I felt he was like, "You're too dumb to understand this. Just take this pill."
Right.
And then I was like, okay, maybe everyone just wants a pill.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just easier. Like, maybe you would have died at 80, 89, but now you're only dying at 84. But you get to eat carbs the whole time. Is it worth it? Just depends what happens in those 5 years. Really depends. Right. But how long does God want me to live?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. I we never know when our time is going to be, and that was another thing that I think drove me to like us wanting to do this diet. Well, do a diet period, but also just do this something extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a try. Is just because Riley's stepmom passed away recently, and it was a car accident. It was unexpected.
Oh yeah.
She had 4 kids, and it just makes me think. I want to be around for my kids, and I don't want to just be around. I want to be present, and I want to have the energy to play with them and do, take them to the park and those kinds of things. Like, I don't want them to, I don't want to die and them not have gotten like the best of me. So that was definitely a motivator for me as far as, making lifestyle changes. And like I said, I don't know if this was I said this before the video cut out or before you recording or not, but like I said, I really feel like God led me specifically to this diet because a lot of things, just limitations as far as just my energy level and like my mental health and things like that I experience in life that have always been a struggle for me, that I've like prayed more recently about, and just like really having healing in that or finding a solution. I feel like, sometimes God doesn't just instantly heal you. Sometimes he gives you something to do. And I feel like that's kind of what it was. And I do feel like it's something that God wants me to do again and do it longer. And that's something that I want to do, and maybe even while I'm pregnant, because, God knew I was going to be pregnant. So, it's not like he was like, here, do this. Oh, never mind, I'm pregnant. Didn't realize that was going to happen, so I do want to try to get back into it for those reasons. And I'm grateful that you did the diet and God is, to show that to me.
Yeah, I never realized that I have a bigger platform. Like, I'm not some big YouTube star. I'm like, look at this cool background. Yeah, I'm just in the corner of my garage.
Yeah.
There's junk everywhere. Right. I'm just
not at that point.
Yeah, but you said that, and I'm just like, you just never know what God's going to use in your life. And now I have more of a platform, not only just share my story, but tell people from a Christian perspective. Yeah. And sometimes I waver, like, oh, do I talk about Jesus and this and that other thing? And I'm like, well, I just want to be myself.
Yeah.
I want to be myself. I want to be able not to use a bunch of like religious words, right? I'll just speak Christianese or whatever. I want to be able to explain and teach people what God says in his word, and how I'm taking that and processing it on this diet and a health journey. Because no, I haven't been healed immediately.
Yeah.
Right? I have not been healed immediately. I'm going through a process, and God is teaching me something. You said that, I was like, okay, don't cry, because it's hard work.
Yeah.
It's a hard work, and it's a struggle, but then I'm thinking, man, I'm so thankful because I'm here right now, because I'm always been looking for ways to make my life have meaning.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, and not just because I need it because I'm prideful or arrogant, but I want to, I got a wife and kids, like obviously my life has meaning, but sometimes the day-to-day life just can seem kind of meaningless and just go to work and cash the check, then spend the check, then go to work,
Yeah.
just over and over and over. But this has kind of reinvigorated me a little bit and just kind of, it's like, oh, now I have a platform to share and that's resonating with people. And I'm like blown away by it. So I guarantee you the things that you've shared today is going to, that God will use in someone else's life.
Yeah.
No matter how you think you did or didn't do and how you feel about it, I know for a fact that God will use it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of, like I said, it was definitely, I was very discouraged after, like, I cheated on it, and just because of, I was so close to getting to where, like, I really wanted to be to, like, see possible results, like, with my mental health. And so, but at the end of the day, I've tried to diet in the past. I've been good at, like, sticking with exercise different time periods in my life, but I've never been able to stick with a diet. Food is something that I guess I struggle with.
I mean, it's so permissible. You have to have it.
Yes. Yeah, I really struggled with it, and like Darrell was saying, he said this was the first diet he's ever tried.
Yes.
Yeah, but
I said I was going to do other diets, but
never tried.
Yeah.
All right, well, give me that steak.
Yeah,
Right.
give me, look, told me all meat. I was like, heck yeah, steaks. Man, I can do this.
Yeah.
And it started costing a lot of money, and we're like,
The steak party.
Yeah, we gotta go down.
I've heard people say, well, if you break down what you're not buying, if you're not going out to eat all the time, I stopped drinking Red Bulls. That saved me, a fortune. Yeah. And in the long-term effects, like you're not on medication. You're not having you don't have to get knees and hips replaced and go to the doctor, when you're 60 and 70 years old, and all the things that long-term obesity does do to people. I mean, it's hard to do the math, when you said, like, I have X, right?
Yeah.
And it seems expensive, but I guess someone way smarter than me could probably figure that out and come back and say, oh, yeah, in the long run, you're saving money.
Yeah, I think that we maybe, it was maybe about the same or less, maybe, because of just, we weren't eating as much.
There's that too.
We were eating way less than what we normally would. I think that the steak is what would have made it more expensive, or like is what maybe made it to where it was the same amount. It probably would have been less had it, like, steaks not been so expensive. But that's what we really wanted to eat. And then we ate shrimp a lot too. So that was steak and shrimp.
Oh yeah, we didn't try fish, did we?
I just never felt like plain fish was gonna be that appetizing. I mean, we did stick to pretty much salt. I would do a little pepper on my eggs, but
I mean, I would use a little bit of hot sauce.
Okay, yeah, I guess.
No, I'd use steaks. I don't know what I'd use. It wasn't just salt.
Yeah, all the stuff just creeps in.
Oh yeah, it does.
My wife started the diet on day one. They were making candied apples over at her mother-in-law's, and she, without thinking about it, she's like, stuck her finger in the bowl and licked it and was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're a failure.
Yeah. Yeah, Darrell.
Which is not true. It's just hard to think about all those things.
Yeah, a lot of those moments in the beginning of just like you giving kids some goldfish crackers and you eat a couple and
throw 5 or 20 in your mouth.
Yeah. It was 5 or 20, but it was 50. But yeah.
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 Give me a little.
I remember one time I was probably 3 weeks in at this point, and like I was let the girls have like some like Nutella with the little Nutella dipsticks or whatever. And the Abigail, she's like shoved it in my like face to try to give me a bite, and it like hit my cheek, and it was like a big clump of Nutella like right next to like my mouth. I could have just licked it off, but I was like, don't do it. I was like, no, like,
yeah. I
didn't eat it, but there's those moments like where you normally you don't think about it, you just do it,
Yeah. And then, honestly for me, it's like, am I being like legalistic? Am I being just crazy? And, but for me, I was like, well, yeah, probably. But I know from experience in my life, having an addictive personality, that it's better for me to abstain completely than just give up, I'll just do a little bit of this.
Yeah.
Because two beer Aaron, right, thinks way different than zero beer Aaron. 2 beer Aaron wants 2 more beers, and 4 beer Aaron is going to finish off a 12-pack.
Yeah.
And a 12-pack Aaron is ending up in jail.
Yeah.
So but with food, it's a little bit different. It's not quite the extreme, but I do know my personality. But hey, it's been a long road. God teaching me that about myself, and everyone's different. My wife doesn't struggle with that, like I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely. Well, a friend of mine is on a strict diet too, but like her diet, they have like a cheat meal once a week. So like. We've talked about things, and like, it's, I think it's different cheating like on this diet, because especially like if you're doing it for like to get benefits from like autoimmune disease or like your depression or whatever, and say there's a certain food that flares you up in that, like it's really just not worth it. And it's not about, it does seem legalistic, but it's also kind of like, is that piece of cake worth me feeling horrible for 3 days? I think that's where it would boil down to me, as far as like, being strict with it. I think it's just different, Yeah,
it's almost like you're preaching about the carnivore diet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I used to smoke cigarettes, and now I don't, but I don't need to smoke a cigarette once a month to prove, make sure that I'm not, being legalistic, so
yeah, I mean,
similar,
it's similar, but it's not the same. So I just want to, I guess I'll ask you guys one last question. I don't want to keep you guys, it's getting pretty late, but would you recommend it to somebody to at least try?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
So I think it's been pretty good, other than the fact I forgot to hit record.
It's all right. That was like an hour ago.
I'm proud of you guys. So I'm thankful for just doing this interview with me. It's my first one.
Well,
great.
We're honored to be your first interview. This is our first interview also. No one else has ever been interested in interviewing.
And Lindsay, I just popped in mind, she was the first person I ever baptized.
Yep.
What? That's awesome.
When she was 13 years old.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
Yep.
Man, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
I know.
So.
I wish I had the little video that we did before, like me and Haley. Like we did like a video, and they like taped it at the cellar instead of at the church about like why we get baptized.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys were little sinners.
Yeah.